And we're live. All right. Thanks everybody for watching. I'm at Stanley at Bullfan in Denver.
Yeah, what's up? I'm Garrett. I'm at Skinny Does It. You can catch me over there. we got our man here, Kyle Posey.
Yep, you can follow me at Richard Wade.
Oh man, guest stars starting off with a bang here.
Do we got to talk like that the rest of the show?
I'll just be a normal asshole like usual. So.
Taking it to the tub.
Oh, that's perfect.
Gotta throw it in the tub.
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
Oh man, I love that so much.
That was so fun.
When people didn't understand what that meant. All right, I'm gonna tweet out this link while everybody's getting.
Yeah, well, we're getting everybody
over here.
In. Oh man, it's good to have you on, Kyle. We've missed you.
Yeah. Man.
Yeah, but before we get started, like, talk to us about you went over to Bleacher Report. I haven't even heard. Like, what? So what are you doing over there?
I'm basically like a behind the scenes dude. So what they're trying to do is like a knockoff PFF. I kind of feel like. So I'm just like grading DBs, and every week I write probably 7 to 8 paragraphs, like 8 paragraphs on rookie DBs and NFC DBs.
Nice.
And I just talk about like what I see, who's hot, who's not, who was up, who's down, that sort of thing.
Cool.
And who are you liking right now?
Everybody who plays a Charger.
Oh, that's funny.
By the way, I'm gonna take this little interlude to make an announcement that we will do a giveaway later in the year, and the winner is going to get this fancy Johnny Troutman
Ooh.
63 rubber bracelet.
Best card in Charger history right there.
Oh man.
So
wow.
I know you guys are gonna want to pay attention to that.
I'm surprised you wouldn't sell that thing, man. You know how much you can get on that in the open market?
I have a whole bag of them. I made the mistake of tweeting his agent to try and get an interview when he was a rookie, and
oh my Jesus,
she literally sent me an entire bag of these. I have like 20 of these.
That was back when those bracelets were popular too.
Yeah.
Remember everybody was wearing those bracelets?
Yeah, and she's all quiet now because I talked too much shit about Johnny Troutman. I tried it because she's the same agent for Casey Hayward, and so I tried reaching out again, and it was
block
crickets. I was like, all right, that's cool, I guess.
Oh, that's funny.
All right, so last week the Chargers lost to the Raiders again. I feel the same way as your child, Kyle. It was sad, but not unexpected.
So I think we're at the point where we know that they're going to lose. It's just about how they're going to lose. Like, how are they going to blow it this time? So how surprised were you guys that – I guess you're not surprised that they lost. So how surprised are you that they lost in the fashion that they did?
Not surprised at all because of McCoy just completely folding and not going for it there at the end of the game. I mean, they did some other things to give it away that were typical Chargers. Like they had a couple fumbles and Rivers' turnovers early in the game were kind of shitty. But McCoy not going for it at the end and just basically playing to lose. I mean, Garrett, you guys talked about it on your podcast earlier that kicking the 3 there, it doesn't really do anything. I mean, you're still giving the Raiders the ball back with 2 timeouts, possibly also the 2-minute warning, to go down and score, to basically to move down the field. Maybe let's see if they take the touchback, they're at the 25 already. So they maybe have to go 40 yards, 50 yards, and then they're in field goal range for Janikowski.
Not even that, too. It's like, so we're talking about Janikowski, who had already kicked a field goal from like 56, was it? Like 56.
Yeah, and it was like halfway up the uprights.
Right. It looked like it would be good from 70. So if you put everything together during the game, that was just like a terrible idea. But like you said, it wasn't just that. So at the end of the half where they gave up the 3 points, I love how they're on the Raiders on the 50 or 45 or whatever it was. And the Chargers are playing like super prevent defense. Like, yes, they're really going to throw a Hail Mary there, guys. Good job.
Derek Carr's hitting it up.
It was that call though. Like you knew something bad was going to happen. Like it was 4th and inches. You're on the road. It's a division game. Your coach is on the hot seat. I mean, the Chargers have already scored 31 points. The Raiders' defense is below average. And then, of course, you're injured on defense as the Chargers. And you watch Del Rio go for it on 4th and 3, throw a low percentage throw to the end zone.
Right.
And you saw him completely – it's changed the whole game.
Yeah.
And then you got – not only that, but you got your own offensive lineman, Franklin and Fluker, going, hey, let's go for it.
Oh,
on
yeah.
the field. Like, when do you ever see those guys fired up to do anything?
Right.
So they want to go for it. And then he doesn't. And then he kicks the field goal. So whether they make the field goal there to tie anyway, I thought they were going to end up losing. Whether it's going to be like a last-second field, like 95-yard field goal by Janikowski or whatever crazy thing was going to happen, they're going to find a way to lose anyway.
Yeah.
If they had resistance like driving down the field, I can kind of see it, but it was like chunk play. It was like so easy.
Yeah.
And then they had a little trouble down there, but even the 3rd down call seemed like it was almost set up like it was 2-down territory.
Yeah.
Sure enough.
Yeah. Yeah, that was super depressing. I mean, that was the hardest part too, is when they showed all of the players, like almost the whole offensive line was just go for it. They were all looking at McCoy like, "Come on, man, just let us do this." And then after they came back and the spot was shitty too. Like when they came, that screenshot that somebody posted later when the they lost like almost a full yard when they came back and respotted that ball.
Which is definitely a big deal.
Right.
How do you guys feel about the 3rd down call? So there's been a lot of talk about that, how they just ran it up the middle. What do you guys think?
I think that was kind of a throwaway. I mean, there's so much more that was working for them on Sunday that was kind of it was almost just like, hey, let's try and line it up for this field goal. Like McCoy was already salivating on the sideline, like, oh yeah, I'm getting ready. It's going up.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with it at the time because, like you said, I thought they were going for it on 4th down.
Right.
So if that was the case and they wanted to pick up some yards, and we're hoping maybe they can get away with what was it, like 3rd and 4 or 5 or something?
Yeah.
At that point, so if that was the case, I was okay with it. But then when they kicked the field goal, it was dumbfounding, especially because how many it seemed like they were getting some big yardage off the edge when they were running to Hunter Henry's side,
very,
and then to
very
run
big.
it. Yeah, so then to run it up the middle at that point and then not go for it on 4th down, like the only 2 times they've gone for it on 4th down were that time in Oakland, and then in Kansas City was just to draw the defense off sides. Like they got it both times.
That's what I thought.
Yep.
Yeah, but they haven't really actually tried to go for it on 4th down. Like we don't know if they were actually going to go for it on those 2 times because they had the hard count and they got them off sides. But man, I just can't believe they didn't go for it there, especially with the previous play.
So why not do that? If they weren't going to go for it, why not just try to draw them off sides? What's wrong with that? And especially since it already worked. You just never know. And if you get a delay game, it's 5 yards. You're on the 15-yard line or something like that. Who cares?
And something else too, because it was there was 2 minutes and I think 15 seconds or something. So they could have ran the offense on the field and done a hard count all the way up to the 2-minute warning.
Yeah.
And
that's a good point.
They wouldn't have wasted a timeout. So anyway, just more things wrong with not going forward there.
Yeah. You guys have anything else that was in the negative column for last week?
Oh God.
How much time do we have?
Yeah.
we don't have a hard count. I think Google Hangouts cuts you off at 8 hours. So I mean, technically we have 7 more hours.
Then we might have time.
That rip. First of all, the idea of throwing deep to Dontrell Inman is not a good one at all.
Oh my God. Yeah.
It should never be the plan.
Yes. When I saw him heave that up, and then the camera's panning over. I'm like, oh man, who's this going to? And I saw 15. I was like, what are you doing? Why is he on any route that's more than 15 yards down the field?
Or 5.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't understand a couple of Phillips throws. A couple times he just lobbed it up and did – I don't know why you do a 50-50 ball to Inman. That makes no sense. But then a couple times he just, like, that interception to Carl Joseph where he just played center field and caught that pick. There were some bad throws.
That one to Inman was probably, I would say, like a top 5 worst Rivers throw ever. That was just all bad.
It was bad.
But how Carl Joseph? He looked good, though, right?
Yeah, he's pretty good. Who knew?
Oh, man.
Maybe a couple of us talked about that. Couple times.
Yeah, he had a couple plays where he beat just like the Chargers lineman and like made a play against Gordon. He looked pretty good. But just about the negative on the Chargers side. Even Rivers, it's weird that he still doesn't know how fast Travis Benjamin is. Like, he needs to understand that you have to throw it 10 yards further than you're ever used to throwing. That dude is like crackhead fast.
Yeah, when he took that comeback and spun out and took it like 50-something yards down the field, that was ridiculous. He just turned and ran away from everyone.
Yeah, the corner was like right there to make a play. Right. It was like, oh no.
Nope, gone.
Oh man.
Yeah, they had Casey Hayward mic'd up. And so I went and watched that on the Chargers website, and he's on the sideline. That play happened, and he just looks at the other DBs. He's like, yeah, I'm not racing him in practice. Nope.
So Phillip had some bad throws. Kaiser was awful.
Oh,
that guy's horrendous.
Yeah, I think he needs
they cut him?
It's a mental thing because we saw in preseason.
Yeah.
He was pinning guys within the 10, but God, man, you can find guys off the street. Phil Rivers' interception went longer than his punt. You might as well just go for it. You know what I'm saying? I would.
Should Kaiser be on the roster right now?
I think yes. I think he gets one more. He has this much leash left, only because at this point, they spent a 6th-round pick on him, and he did show something in preseason. So I think you give him. He has this much more leash. If he has one more punt under 25 yards, you don't even let him back in the locker room. Just be like, we'll mail you your stuff.
Right. I would agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not totally ready to give up on him because I think it's like 95% mental right now. Because we saw he could kick, but
and at this point too, with them, I think that I saw reports that Kellen Clemens is basically going to be the holder this week. They gave him a lot of time holding. Now Kaiser doesn't have any more excuses. He has one job now. He literally has one job, and that job is to punt the shit out of the ball. And that's all he has to focus on. So if he comes out and shanks one again, it's game over. Just we'll mail you your stuff. Just take the pads home. I don't care.
The timing of these shanks have been like the worst possible thing.
Yeah.
Like the Chiefs one and then this one. You could not have had like a worst possible one.
Yeah.
I think he did it in Indy too. He had like a 20-something yard punt when they were trying to come back then too. Yeah. But I love that McCoy's like the thing that we got to work on in practice is not the guy who's been kicking less than 20 yards, but his holding. Because he missed one. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, let's fix his holding.
So I was at the Colts game, and obviously I was talking like big shit there because they were winning. After they lost, and we were walking out, there were Colts fans like talking shit to like my daughter, like me and my daughter.
Oh wow!
They were so bad.
Oh, that's terrible.
Oh, that's
it was awesome.
Oh man, the worst experience like that I've had is I live in Denver, and I go to a bunch of the games, and I went to the Ed Hockey League game. And
oh God,
they didn't show those replays in the stadium. So
wow. Yeah, that's weird.
So I didn't know, and the Broncos fans didn't know, how badly that call got fucked up. Until I got home.
Like back then, wasn't it like when you're the home team, you don't show the replay, so you don't want anybody to review it and stuff? Back when
Yeah, well, and in the first half of the game, the replay booth wasn't even working.
Oh,
so
right.
They had tried to review a play in the first half, and they were like, we can't do it. It's broken. So then they fix it for the second half, but they don't show the replays. So the whole ride home, like the whole way out of the stadium, I'm getting shit, and my mom's with me, and they're screaming at my mom, they're screaming at me. Then we get on the light rail, and we're taking the trolley back, and I'm getting shit the whole way back on the light rail. Then I get into my apartment, and I turn on ESPN, and that's the first thing that comes up is like how badly he botched the call, and they're showing the replay, and I just start throwing shit around my apartment. Like my neighbor came over, she's like, "Are you okay? What's happening?" I was like, "Get the fuck out!" And so I took all that abuse from all these shitty Broncos fans, and then I get home and realize, oh my god, those motherfuckers should not have even won the game. That was my worst experience.
It's terrible, man.
Garrett, do you have a bad experience with fans in the stadium?
I mean, Charger fans on Twitter, that's for sure. But in the stadium,
it goes without saying.
No, Charger fans on Facebook are worse.
Oh, but yeah, miles ahead of Twitter fans. Man, like I was a season ticket holder, so I got like all the shit from like Raider fans and stuff, and like it seemed like every person in that stadium like were about to fight a Raider, or the Raider fans wanted to fight a Charger fan in there. So I got my day a couple times.
Nice.
My number called, but no, that's about it. Nothing too bad.
All right, well that's good.
Nothing like you guys, damn.
How surprising has Travis Benjamin been to you guys? Do you expect him to be what he is right now? Do you think he'd be better? Do you think he'd be worse?
I honestly thought he'd be a little worse, especially with like some of the rumblings we were hearing in preseason that were very concerning, and the fact that it took him so long for them to start using him with the ones,
right,
in practice and stuff. But he's come on and just started clicking, and I've been really pleasantly surprised.
I've been like in the kicking game, I think he could be better. Like he's been awesome.
It'll be hard for him to be worse.
Yeah, like not even just the returns, but even where he won't catch the ball and he pins the Chargers back inside the 20 when he won't just catch the ball and take it where it's at. That's been awful. That McCluster's taking over his job, and then early on, his drops were kind of worrisome, and then I think like the Raider game it showed. Like let him play against the sideline. Like I think this like shallow crosses they were doing and giving him some work in the middle of the field. Like it seemed like he just doesn't. He wants to shy away from contact all the time and get to a sideline anyway. So I liked what I saw out of Oakland. I think that's probably where they want to put him anyway.
Yeah, he looks terrified whenever he has to go anywhere between the hashes, like completely terrified. So it's been some good usage the last couple of weeks when they just, curls, comebacks, and obviously take deep shots with him because that's his game. He can outrun anybody. But just looking at like stats, so he's 11th in the league in receiving, and he has like
really,
yeah.
Wow.
So he has 39 targets, and the dudes ahead of him, like Landry has more yards, but he has 16 more targets. Antonio Brown has 56 targets compared to his 39. Then Mike Evans, 62, 47, 55, 52, 52. There's so many dudes with like double-digit more targets than him with more yardage. So he's playing a lot better than I would have thought. I mean, I thought I thought he was good. I thought he was a solid number 2, but he's been better than I thought he would.
Yeah, definitely, especially when Keenan went down because I didn't he looks all bit of a wide receiver 1 right now.
Yeah, he's just got to clean up those drops. I mean, he had another one on one of those deep balls in the Raiders game.
Mm-hmm.
It hit him right in the hands and just bounced off his hands.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird that he only attacks the ball. He only attacks the ball when he's like outside of the hashes. It's really weird. Like he just is a totally different player when he goes over the middle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that was a post up the middle too. So
I don't remember seeing that in Cleveland though. And I don't know if he's trying to preserve himself or whatever, but I don't remember that happening in Cleveland because when we signed him, I remember looking back and watching some stuff. I don't remember that happening.
Well, because half of Cleveland's roster wasn't The Walking Dead like it is in San Diego.
Well, yeah.
people dropping like flies all around him, I'd protect myself too.
Yeah, I mean, he could. That's what I'm saying. He could be just preserving himself. That's why he wants to get to the sideline all the time. But I don't know. In Cleveland, he was the number one wide receiver, but he caught stuff over the middle. I don't remember him like wanting to go down so bad.
Yeah. So that's fine because T.Y. Hilton does that, but T.Y. Hilton will actually go across the middle, get yards, and he'll like dive like Harvin Harrison used to do, but not like just completely move himself up.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's talk about let's talk about some positives from the Raiders. Obviously, we should start with Joey Bosa, who came out and displayed some of the best handwork I've seen on the Chargers' defensive line in as long as I can remember. The way he used his hands was just beautiful. His slaps were timed perfectly, his rips, his clubs. It was hard for the offensive line most of the time to even just put hands on him.
So let me ask you guys, like, so we all witnessed his greatness. Like, is he more like Kevin Green or like Jared Allen, or are we talking like J.J. Watt? Like, what kind of talent is Joey Bosa right now?
I think it's too small of a sample size so far.
So he's a lot better than Kyle Bosh.
He's great, man.
Yeah,
do you think that there was a lot of, or there wasn't any of him inside? I thought the plan was when they drafted it, they said they were going to play him at like the 5 tech, and he didn't do that at all.
Isn't that crazy? I was gonna ask that because I thought it was going to be 3 and 5 tech, but he didn't play much of that at all. I had no idea that he was as athletic as he was because I didn't see him standing up and being able to bend the edge and win off speed off the edge like that.
Do you think it was because he was only playing on those passing downs, and so they stuck him outside and just said, go get the quarterback, rather than being on early downs and saying, go fill this hole, go beat up some guards?
Right, and that could very well be the case because, first game back, just want to get him out there for, 20% of the snaps or whatever while he's still fresh. But it'll be when they said that Bosa was going to be like playing inside full time, that's when I was like, yeah, then this was definitely the best pick. I wasn't sure that he would be the best player if he was just going to be outside the whole time, but obviously he played about as well as you can ask for. Like you said, his hands, man, were something serious.
Yeah, and I don't think they'll be afraid to move him around once he gets his snap count up, because, I mean, there was even that one play where they had him outside, and then they had and Ataucho on the other side, and then Emmanuel and Ingram playing inside linebacker.
Yeah, I like that. There was probably like 5 times that happened, and it worked a couple of times where, I think what this comes down to, and obviously they have to do it by necessity just because injuries, but this is just putting like your best possible players on the field, and it doesn't matter what position you play in. And Emmanuel's smart enough to do that. Ingram's athletic enough to do that, where they can get away with that. I liked a couple of times where they had Bosa and Ingram lined up on the same side as well.
Yeah, they did that in practice a bunch with Ataucho and Ingram. I remember a couple of times them having Ingram lined up at the 5, and then they had Ataucho out at the 7 or the 9, and that was pretty impressive in practice a couple of times. So yeah, they're not afraid to stack their 2 best rushers on the field on the same side.
I'd like to see a situation where they go like Melvin like head up on a guard, Bosa like head up on a tackle, and then Ataucho like on the edge.
Ooh, that would be game over, because I mean, unless that tight end out there is Hunter Henry, or that's game over.
So how about Hunter Henry? Has he exceeded expectations? I know my good friend Louis Riddick tried to convince us all that he was a terrible blocker.
Uncle Lou?
Yeah, Uncle Lou, man. Goddamn. What's in that whiskey bottle is what I want to know.
Yeah, he's been really impressive. Like, so I dogged on the pick a little bit because I thought it was a reach to grab a tight end there. But I didn't think about what a complete player he was and just how much he opens up the offense just being out there on the field. Because he he makes the offense a little more unpredictable. It's like taking Woodhead out of the mix now that they don't have that that pure like more passing style back, and then Melvin Gordon to run the ball. Now they're a little more unpredictable. With Hunter Henry out there, you don't know whether he's blocking or running a pattern, and he can do both well.
It almost seems like they just took a tackle at the top of the second round, like with with how well he's really blocking that well. And I thought it was too high too, just because tight end. How are they going to use him? Is he even going to play that much with Gates? But I don't know if it was because this injury last week, but I don't know what the difference of the snap count was. It seemed like it was 80-20 Henry Gates, and honestly, man, that's how it should be. Henry should not leave the field unless it's like third and medium where you just Gates is going to do his little old man route over the middle.
Yeah, and just box out.
Right.
Yeah, I would have never guessed he was as far along on his blocking as he was, man. Like, he's the best blocker on the field right now, right? Like, I'm talking about across all linemen, everything.
I'd probably say so.
I would not say it's close.
Right? Like, line him up at left tackle. I mean,
we might see that if it.
He's been great. I mean, we know what he can do with his hands. He's had great hands.
He showed a little speed there when he broke.
Yeah, he had yard after catch monster there on Sunday. He took that one and just got up. He got upfield quick.
Yeah.
And I loved that as soon as they caught up to him, he corrected that mistake. He held on to that like he was holding the football and Air Force One was going down. That was awesome. Yeah,
that sucked that they had to lose a game like that because, I mean, obviously rookie and everybody's going to blame it on any dumb excuse. But, I mean, he had been playing his tail off in Indy too, so it always sucks when that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been great though, man. Yeah, I love the fact that you can't you got to be honest with him. Like, is he going to go out and run a route, or is he going to stay back and block? Like with Gates, he's not going to stay in and block, and even if he does, it doesn't matter.
Right.
So, if he does stay in, he's not blocking.
Right. And I think that's what they were missing with Darius too, because neither were going to really block, and if they did, they weren't going to block anybody. So to actually have like a true threat to catch a pass or to stick you on a block, I think that's huge.
Yep.
Every Denver game the last 3 years, Ladarius Green just got eaten up by Von Miller, DeMarcus Ware. So that's something to watch tomorrow because they run these plays where they'll bring the tight end across the formation and have him block like the edge man, like one of the best players on the defense. And Vaughn would just eat these guys up and make tackles for loss. So if Henry could even just, he doesn't have to obviously take his head off. He just has to stay in front of him. Yeah. Right. If he can limit him, then he's something serious.
Mm.
Yeah, that'll definitely be one of the better matchups to watch. And if Vaughn has to drop back and follow him at all. I mean, I know that their defense, Wade Phillips, isn't as wasteful, I guess you'd say, as John Pagano when Pagano is dropping Ingram back like 30% of the time. Vaughn's not dropping back 30% of the time. But if Vaughn does drop back, he's athletic and fun to watch, but it'll be interesting to see him go up against Hunter Henry.
Just speaking of like the rookies and going back to Bosa, it's funny like when you watch like an end zone copy, you see like Bosa on one side and Melvin Ingram on the other side. Bosa has like his hands extended, is already like chopping and ripping through, and Melvin is like shoulder. Like just...
see, you got to zoom in. His arms are extended; they're just really small.
He just has like no idea how to rush the passer, and like you said, how advanced Bosa is. It's just crazy the difference between those two in like one game. Not even one game because he played like a quarter of the game.
Yeah, like 27 or something snaps. Yeah, it's good. It was like you're watching something, you're like, oh yeah, that's what a pass rusher looks like. I haven't seen that in a while.
How often do you think Bosa will play tomorrow?
I think he probably doubles his snaps. I think he's probably in the mid-40s.
Half the game?
Yeah, I'd say he probably is. Yeah, I'd say so. I think he might like rotate, like kind of how they did in the first game with Slauson. With Fluker and Spencer Pulley. I think they'll rotate and he'll get like maybe every other series.
Does he kick inside this game?
I think with the increased snap count, they might try and rotate him in. I think that they got to start seeing what they have there on the inside,
Right.
against other teams, because they have to know what they can't judge that from one padded practice a week.
Phylon was really, really bad again last week.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
he's just-
Karan Reed. Give all his snaps to Karan Reed.
Yeah.
I don't know why they don't do that. I don't know what else it has to take to do that. But
Yeah.
here we go.
And Damian Square's back this week too.
Oh, that's right.
The savior. So at least we got that, right?
Yeah, and so
The real first round picks coming back.
And so that brings up a point that, Kyle, we kind of talked about in this. Well, we didn't really talk about it. I just threw it in the Slack, and you kind of nodded at me and made me feel good. But we have so many they have so many defensive linemen right now that could kind of rotate in, and they're short on middle linebackers. At what point do they start switching to more of a 4-3 with Jatavis on the outside, Perryman head up in the middle, and then the newcomer Corey Toomer on the other side?
Yeah. So Toomer. This just comes back to, being athletic. He's obviously, he can run. He looks like he's powerful, and he wasn't like second guessing himself. So he had a really good game. He probably outplayed Jatavis. I think that would be good. That would probably just all but eliminate a Tauchu out of the game plan, I imagine. But I think, in base downs, why not? But Toomer looked good. I know it's just one game. I'd like to see him against, another athletic team like Denver who's going to spread him out.
Right, and one that he's not used to playing. He spent the first 4 weeks on the practice squad over in Oakland, so he's kind of familiar with that offense.
Right. So I don't know if he's playing or not, but Denver has a really, really fast tight end, Virgil Green.
He is playing. He's back this week.
Okay. So that's going to be a tough matchup for any linebacker. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Toomer looks. But he was really good. He was really impressive.
Yeah, and there'll probably be a pretty solid rotation of him in there because Perryman is listed as questionable, but he was limited all week.
I wouldn't mind either moving Emmanuel inside at linebacker or Emmanuel inside at, like, just bulk him up this offseason and make him like your 5 tech. I don't know what he weighs, but
I think
I feel like he's smart enough to do that. And I don't really feel like it's about weight when you're in there. It's just about, doing your job, just getting your hand, just making first contact, that sort of thing.
All right, and we'll just go ahead and transition that right into the injuries since we're talking about them. So we have Jaleel Adai's still out with his collarbone. Joe Barksdale has a foot injury. He didn't practice on Monday, like nobody did. None of them practiced, but they gave like an estimated, like what they would be if they were practicing injury report. And then he was limited Tuesday and Wednesday, and he's questionable. Brandon Flowers is still out and has still not practiced with a concussion. It has been a month since he's practiced.
That's good.
That's terrifying. Orlando Franklin has an ankle injury. He was limited Tuesday and Wednesday. He's questionable. Hairston has a groin injury. He was limited all week, and he's questionable. So
go ahead and sit this one out, Chris.
Yeah, go ahead and tell Chris 75. Go ahead and just stay warm.
He's so bad.
Yeah, man. He's been awful.
He has been bad. He's been really bad. And I don't ever want to see Shane Ray or Von Miller opposite 75. It'll be game over. Drew Kaiser, he was limited, and then he was Tuesday and Monday, and then he was full on Wednesday with his back injury.
What if Drew Kaiser is actually left-footed and we don't know him? That just came to my head. Like, what if these bad punts are just because he's left-footed and like he doesn't know it?
Oh, that's what I've been doing wrong. Thanks, guys. You know, I thought that felt weird. Oh man, that's a good one.
Oh shit.
And then we have Craig Mager, who hurt his shoulder, and he was limited all week and is questionable. So now they're down 3 corners. If he can't play, they're down 3 corners.
More Stevie Williams.
More Stevie Williams. More Pierre Desir, who he didn't get any snaps last week.
Yeah, I don't think he played. I don't remember seeing him out there.
I can't
me neither.
believe they dropped Steve Williams, signed Pierre Desir, and then Steve comes back and takes all of Desir's snaps because he played a couple snaps the week before.
Yeah, and then he gave up the touchdown.
And then dropped that easy pick.
Yeah.
He played that perfectly, too.
That was a game changer right there. That's another thing. Good teams just don't let that happen, man.
Yeah.
You cannot drop that.
Yeah, they need to have a bigger punishment than having to buy the rest of the defensive backfield pizza for dropping picks.
Is that what they did?
Oh yeah, you didn't hear. So I don't know if they still do it, but Weddle made that point a couple of times that when he was still on the team, that if they dropped a pick, like if the ball hit them in the hands and they didn't come down with a pick, they owed everyone in the defensive backfield pizza the next week.
Jeez.
So
they might as well give him a Johnny Troutman bracelet.
You know what,
Like what?
Pierre, hit me with your address. This is on its way.
Oh God, man.
And then, so this one's concerning to me. Dexter McCluster has a hamstring injury, and he's limited.
He didn't even play. How is he hurt?
Yeah, I don't know how that happened.
I looked it up. He played 2 snaps.
He got that Jacoby Jones syndrome on that fair catch. That went out of bounds.
Oh my God.
You remember that, right?
Yes. IR. And then we have Denzel Perryman, who has a shoulder, and he actually practiced this week. He was out there on Tuesday and Wednesday. He was limited. He's also questionable. So basically everyone on the Chargers is either questionable or out that I mentioned. And then Denver's injury list is real short this week. So they have Trevor Siemian, who everyone is saying he's starting this week.
I've heard that too.
He had an injury to his left shoulder, his non-throwing shoulder. He was limited all week and questionable officially for the game. And the reason I believe all of the talk that he's starting is apparently when they interviewed Kubiak earlier in the week, when they officially made the decision to sit him on Saturday of last week and let Paxton Lynch start, he basically told Simeon, like, go to the film room and start getting ready for San Diego. So Simeon got like a couple extra days of Chargers prep. So I think he's starting this game.
I would say he needed a couple extra days for Chargers prep. But...
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
He needed a couple extra days to watch tape on Joey Bosa and how to avoid getting sacked.
Paxton Lynch didn't look very good on Sunday.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, I was gonna say the reason that Simeon's starting is because everyone else watched Paxton Lynch play on Sunday.
Yeah. They watched his footwork in the pocket, watched him, couldn't handle pressure. He held on to the ball too long. Ugh.
Yeah. He looked
like the only time he got anything going in that game against Atlanta was they just basically were like, all right, like back it up, take it in shotgun the whole fourth quarter and, like give you an extra couple seconds because they ain't working on shotgun or under center. So they ran him like primarily out of shotgun in like the last half of the fourth quarter or whatever. And then he that's where he threw his touchdown pass and everything. So it helped.
Yep. All right, and then we got DeMarcus Ware, who's still out with a forearm injury. And then Kayvon Webster at corner has a hamstring injury, and he's questionable. Everyone else who's listed was a full participant all week, and so they're not going to be out.
So before we get to the things here, Ruben, our writer over Bolts from the Blue, says that there's a bunch of questions in YouTube or something.
Yeah. I'm watching the feed. So,
okay.
Just to let everybody know that, once we get to after we go over this week's game, we'll start running through the questions.
Cool. All right. Sounds good.
And also thanks to everybody who's watching. I don't know if it's just because of Kyle's star power, but we have at least 10 more viewers this week than we've had any of the other weeks.
Yeah, man. Hollywood.
We're name
I'm sure.
For at least 10 viewers.
We are name dropping big time right now.
Makes me feel great, all 10 of you.
All right. So heading into this week, what are the keys when the Chargers are on offense? What are we going to be watching when the Chargers are on offense, Garrett?
I mean, a lot of things. I think Kyle, you wrote an article about what to do. And I don't want to touch on anything because I was only able to read it, so I'll let you start with it. What What did you see against Atlanta? Because I watched that game too.
Yeah, so what they did was they got to the edge when they tried to run, so they tried to get outside. Because everybody knows Wade Phillips is going to be in man coverage all the time, so they used some misdirection where they would send the guy one way, they would run it back the other way, just to get guys running the wrong way, reading the wrong things. And then they did a really good job of getting their running backs involved in the passing game. And not just like swing plays out of the backfield, but they would actually line Freeman and Coleman up in the slot and have them run actual routes. So Coleman hit him with a couple deep passes, and Freeman was running just a couple out routes. And it's just, I don't know whoever 51 is, he looks bad.
Todd Davis, I think. Todd Davis and Brandon Marshall were the guys trailing the whole game.
It was Davis who was in coverage, and he just could not stick with these guys. And I think that's what the Chargers have to do, man. I think they have to just split out Melvin. And I'm pretty hard on Melvin, but he's actually a really good receiver. Mm-hmm. And I would use his athleticism against Denver and just that's just another way. I feel like you want to go into a game with a goal in mind to give him a certain amount of touches. That's just an easy way to manufacture touches for Melvin. So that's what I would do. I would get Melvin to the outside by running Hunter Henry's way and with Watt leading the way. And I would also run him using actual routes.
Yeah. So I was going to touch on that stuff too, because that's what sucks about McCluster too, because he'd be able to eat this game.
Exactly.
Tevin Coleman is quick, and Devontae Freeman. If you can get both Gordon and McCluster in the passing game, because Marshall and Todd Davis were chasing Freeman and Coleman the whole game. Like, they could not handle them in space at all. And like you were talking about, a lot of the run plays, like there's a lot of counter runs that were working. Set up a lot of the play action. It kind of kept the Broncos on their heels. But something that I noticed, and I don't know if you noticed this too, Kyle, but Atlanta went heavy in their base personnel. So like they kind of were like forcing the Broncos to be in base defense. So like we know, like the Broncos have like great DBs. Like, they're stacked. And so, they're more effective when they get 6 DBs in that dime package. But the Broncos only ran for the first 4 games, only ran like 4 snaps out of the nickel. But the Falcons ran 49 of their 63 plays in base personnel. So they're basically forcing Denver to run their nickel defense, which I saw a lot less Bradley Roby. So, like, Bradley Roby had, like, 8% of the snaps on Sunday against the Falcons, which is by far his lowest. Like, he's usually in the 60s, Yeah. 60% of the defensive snaps. So, Atlanta kind of forced their hand. And I guess Aqib Talib was talking about after the game that they spread them out like New England did when they beat them during the season. Like, they said Atlanta basically ripped out the blueprint of what the Patriots did. And, got Deion Lewis out wide and just stretched their inside linebackers out. And that's what they did with Coleman and Freeman on Sunday. So if Dexter McCluster plays, obviously get him involved, running out of the slot, or at least line him out as a wide receiver. And same with Gordon, too.
I like that a lot. I didn't know that Roby didn't play that much, but it's smart because, honestly, the Chargers' best formation is like 12 and 13 personnel. And you can just split out Gates wide. You can split out Henry wide. And then you have your one receiver, whatever. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I didn't notice that. That's a good catch.
Well, that and maybe this week is when we finally see Derek Watt's catching abilities pay dividends. I mean, that was their whole big reason for signing him, is that he's a receiver out of the backfield. And
does he ever catch this year?
He has 1 catch, I think, this year. And he has one. I think he has 2 targets. I think he has 1 catch and 1 really bad drop.
Saving him for later in the season. Smart.
Yeah. Keep those hands fresh.
For that playoff run.
The deep playoff run. First round bye. Yeah.
So that's what Posey touched on a little bit, but I think that's what they got to do. At least that's what Atlanta had success with. If you can, hopefully you can keep Denver in their base personnel. and get Roby on the field as little as possible. That'd be a recipe to at least be successful. Set yourself up to be successful.
Yeah.
And they did a good job of getting the ball out of Rivers or Ryan's hands really quick too. So that's another important thing. Don't want Rivers holding the ball, especially with the backup lineman in.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and I saw somebody threw something your way about the Chargers can try and follow the Falcons' blueprint, but they don't have Julio Jones. and Kyle came back and said, "Yeah, well, they've got this guy Tyrell Moss. Who's, pretty good."
He's like Julio Jones, but better.
We didn't even talk about Tyrell. He looked great on Sunday too.
He did look good, and he actually they threw one of those like sports science stats out there, and he was the third fastest player in football recorded field speed on Sunday.
He's fast as shit. Like I don't.
Oh my god.
He just glides by people, man.
Dude, that touchdown to Tyrell Williams was so beautiful.
Oh,
the play call, they carried out to perfection. Like they ran that heavy play action. Rivers gave that shoulder fake to Gordon, and then Reggie Nelson had Gates up the seam, and Gates baited him just enough to keep Nelson honest. And of course, like Tyrell just beat Amerson, had to step. Nelson was late coming over because he had Gates, and Williams went over the top. It was perfect.
It's weird that Rivers has no problem throwing deep to Williams, like because it seems like they're always like on target, on just in the same path, but he can't get it down with Benjamin. I wonder why. Maybe it's the extra year. I don't know, but
yeah,
he looks good. He looked good last game. That was good. That was encouraging. That's why they still have to take shots downfield because Benjamin and Williams are just way too fast not to do that, just to waste them. That's where I wish somebody dependable underneath like Keenan Allen would be here so they can set up these shots.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they don't.
Because especially with a guy like.
Go ahead.
Especially with a guy like Aqib Talib who's going to like sit on routes all day. Like you can get him deep at least once a game.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll be able to set it up with Travis Benjamin. I mean, they're going to run a couple of those comebacks early on because that's like his favorite route so far is that comeback. And then he's going to throw that double move in there and just be gone.
Yeah.
So what did you guys think about when Tyrell didn't cut it upfield soon enough for Rivers last week?
Rivers was so mad.
Yeah, he was pissed.
He was so pissed. He was still talking about it after the play. Like he was on the sideline like, just go, man, just go.
Yeah, that was weird. I don't know.
I didn't
see
he
had a lot of space. He did have some space to cut upfield. I don't know if he thought that he could outrun them to the side, but if you can outrun them that way, you're definitely going to outrun them north and south.
Yeah, see, that's what I thought he was trying to do. He was trying to outrun him to the sideline and cut it upfield. But maybe he thought he was Travis Benjamin, like you know how Benjamin did it earlier. And he smoked him. Oh, God, man.
But that's what I love, though, about Rivers is that he screamed at him for that and, like, told him, hey, you're wrong. But then he has full confidence to go right back to him. Like, he doesn't care. He's like, listen, man, I'm not taking this personal. I'm just telling you this is what you did wrong. Here you go. Let me set you up later.
And I think he went back to him deep when they were, like, in that condensed formation and they threw that deep ball. I think it was on Sean Smith, and then they caught it in, like, double coverage.
Yep.
On the top of Reggie Nelson,
So, yeah, that'll be interesting to see if they do spread it out wide and try and keep Denver out of the nickel package.
Yep.
How do they stop Denver's offense? What do they have to do?
You got to hope that Tyson Braylo's playing.
Yeah, and you got.
He looks terrible.
And you got to have Joey Bosa just pile drive Trevor Siemian into the ground, so they have to put Paxton Lynch back in.
Their right tackle looks just as bad, man. That Schofield dude.
Yeah,
no, that was him. That was Braylo. He was playing right tackle that game.
Oh, was he?
I think Schofield played right guard. Yeah, because Stevenson was out. Yeah, he's awful. Yeah.
Well, Stevenson's back this week.
Oh shit!
Him and Virgil Green are both back.
I mean, Schofield's not exactly a world beater either.
No, neither of their guards really.
No, the only top tier lineman they have is Matt Paradis at center. He's a freaking monster.
You know who's played really good actually that I was impressed with is Russell Okung has been playing pretty good this year. I'm surprised.
No, he is really good.
Because he's like what 60.
Man, yeah, but he's looked really good. So that left side, I don't know if they're going to get any pressure off that left side. Of course, unless it's Bosa. But yeah, man. but yeah, I mean Garcia Stevenson. They got some kind of weakish guard play.
Just put somebody over there who doesn't matter, and put Bosa on the left side, and just go to work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let Emmanuel run on the left side against Okung and just basically contain the edge. Be smart. Don't play out of position, and then line up Bosa or Ingram or whoever else on the other side.
And don't let Lowry cover Virgil Green.
No.
So they've been doing a good job with Lowry as far as not asking him to do so much 10 yards and further down the field. So they've just been keeping him around the line. It's basically like a Diaz role, and that's really helped. He's looked a lot better lately.
Yeah, I've been waiting, but I'm still waiting for them to start using McCoyle closer to the line. They keep having McCoyle play center field, and it's pretty confusing.
I think it's out of necessity because you don't want Lowry to do that, and you don't want Phillips to do anything. So
yeah. Oh, the other key to beating their offense is Adrian Phillips cannot be one-on-one on Emmanuel Sanders like he was on Amari Cooper last week. That was the most ridiculous thing of it. That was almost worse than the deep ball to Inman.
That had to be some sort of confusion there because that didn't happen ever again before that or after that.
It was just like the perfect storm of oh fuck, and
Right.
it was a touchdown.
Yeah,
that was just awful.
I'm surprised they didn't switch it like as they lined up. Like I'm not guarding him.
No, you do it. Or Adrian Phillips turned around like, so someone's got me up top, right? I only have to cover him for like the first 10 yards, and then somebody else taking it over.
I actually like the idea that what they did there though, with putting what's his name, Casey Hayward on Crabtree, and then Steve Williams, a fast dude, on Cooper, and just basically cut your losses and take the losses with Cooper, and then do whatever you can to take Crabtree out. And obviously it didn't work, but I do think that was the right idea.
Yeah, I'd support that too. There was a couple times where they failed to give him help, and that was the other thing though. That, like, I agree, Stevie Williams is supposed to be like the fast guy, but he did not look fast at all on the field on Sunday.
I mean, he's not very good. I mean, I don't know what else you can say about it. I mean, he might be quick, but he's not good. I mean, what else can he do? He's not talented. He's not an NFL CB. It's gonna be because I mean, Hayward's probably gonna line up on Demarius, right? And then they're probably gonna give Stevie Emmanuel. There's no Mager. There's no Flowers. Who else is out? Who else on injury report?
Call Mager a person.
Right.
Well, Perryman's also questionable.
What other am I missing any corners?
No, it was just so Flowers is out and Major is questionable.
I don't know.
And Verrett's on the IR. So.
I actually think Manny Sanders is the best receiver on Denver.
Oh yeah.
So I would put Hayward on him, and then I would just kind of cut my losses with Demarius, and just pray to God that Stevie Williams can tackle him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be a tough ask because Demarius is huge.
But
he's huge, and Stevie's so undersized, and I mean, not that matters. Would you almost rather cut your losses with Desir on Thomas?
So you would obviously rotate, safety help his way, so they're not completely on an island, and you just basically have to trust Hayward to be on an island and say, hey man, you got Sanders by yourself, but. I wonder if we're going to see Desir more this week. One of these guys have to play.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, on paper, it would make sense just in terms of matchups, having Hayward on Emmanuel Sanders and then having Desir guard Demarius and then just have Latimer against Stevie. But I have no idea what they're going to do. I mean, they're behind the 8 ball here, man, because I listed 3 corners, but two of them can't play corner, so
it's not an ideal situation to be.
Right. And to be able to afford to rotate the safety help over there, you have to really have faith that, like Jatavis Brown can lock down Virgil Green or whoever else they're trotting out at tight end.
Yeah, but I think that's the right idea. I mean, give safety help over to Demaryius Thomas. Let whoever, Desir Williams, take Demaryius, and then just have Hayward lock down Emmanuel. Because that's, I mean, I think that's their biggest weapon, especially now in 2016.
Well,
so,
that and Emmanuel's a lot better underneath, and Trevor Siemian doesn't have the cannon arm. I mean, he's accurate, but he doesn't have a lot of power to push it downfield. He's got to take a lot of these underneath routes.
I would give a hard look at moving Mager to safety. And that's, well, if it was me, I'd cut him. But if they're going to leave him on the field, I mean, if you want to actually see what he can do, I would try to change his role. He had a play last week where he's in the slot and he came up and filled against the run. It looked like a safety play. So I would take a look at him to see what they asked Phillips to do basically last week. I would see what he can do.
Yeah.
All right, so we got any other points for when the Chargers are on defense?
They should be able to hypothetically be able to get after the quarterback this week. Denver's offensive line is not very good.
Yeah, they can get outside pressure. I don't know how much they're going to get up in the middle, but I don't think either of the running backs are. So they're going to rotate. Basically, it's almost 50-50 now with Booker and CJ.
That is so weird to me. Booker's like steadily getting more and more, like eating away more and more of his snap.
Oh, yeah. It's like week 1, it was like 70-30, and now it's basically 50-50.
So that's another thing. That's another thing too. Is that Atlanta? I mean, it's not Paxton Lynch, but Atlanta stopped their run game hard. Like Booker and Anderson couldn't get anything going on Sunday, and they were like forced, and then they fell behind, so they're forced to pass the ball a lot. So I mean, I don't know that Anderson or Booker can really do much. But again, this is the Chargers defensive line. They should be able to theoretically stop the run.
Yeah, I would say so, especially with Bosa getting more snaps. I mean, he set the edge last week better than anyone who's set the edge in San Diego in years. So, I mean, they're not going to give up a lot to the outside. And with Bosa getting more snaps and Square coming back and just how everyone's been playing, I think they probably stand a good chance to I mean, maybe not shut them down as well as Atlanta did. But, I mean, yeah,
Denver's not very good on offense. They're really not.
No,
they do just enough, basically.
Right, that's a good way to put it. Their offensive line is they're average, is what I would say. The offensive line is average. You're able to get pressure against them. They're not going to move you off the ball, and their quarterbacks hold the ball. So you have chances to make plays.
Yep.
Yeah, and and like you said, they should be able to get some rush off the edge because last week they gave up 4 sacks to what's his name out of Clemson who hasn't done shit in
right
2
Beasley.
years now.
Beasley,
yeah. They get 4 sacks to Beasley.
It was all against the same dude, that Ty Sambrella.
Yeah.
Well, he'll probably rotate in because his replacement, the guy he was in for, isn't coming back 100%. So
let's hope so for Charger fans.
Let's get to some questions before we roll into bold predictions.
Man, that Broncos fullback's pretty good though. He popped.
Oh yeah,
a couple of times too. Janovich. I mean, I don't want to talk about fullbacks here. Well, Stanley, this is your wheelhouse.
I love me some fullback.
But Andy Janovich looked great, man.
Yeah, he's been good, man. I mean, he is that old school short yardage guy who he blows people up when he's blocking, and you hand him the ball and look out, like it's gonna hurt trying to tackle him.
It's weird. I think he went undrafted too. It's weird that you could find a good fullback undrafted.
Who knew?
All right.
Sorry, but you can move on.
Okay, so the first thing we have here is this is gonna be a fun one. What is everyone's thoughts on Eric Weddle being PFF's highest ranked safety so far?
Duh.
Yeah.
He's not. Every time I talk about Weddle, some begruntled Charger fan would be like, "Just wait until week 12 when his legs are tired." No, that doesn't happen. What are you talking about? No, we knew he was a good player. He's a great player, and it's not surprising that he's doing well for the Ravens. So I get a chance to watch a lot of these games, unfortunately, but he's doing the same things. He just makes plays around the line of scrimmage. He does exactly what he did with the Chargers. He's playing much better, actually, than he did last year. He's not missing nearly as many tackles. It's
weird that a Pro Bowl safety is hashtag good, you know?
Right.
What are we talking?
Odd.
Who's surprised by that?
Hey, everybody, I'm going to apologize real quick I just banned the 2 people that were in the comments section.
Oh, you did?
Oh, yeah. They were dropping N-bombs everywhere.
Nice.
Ooh.
So, they gone.
Wow.
Good for them.
Damn, man. Good God.
Yeah. Shit got real in the comments.
Wild Wednesdays.
I was wondering why the comments slowed down so much. I saw they were just going off.
Fuck.
All right. So then we have.
I don't know if that's direct. I don't know who that's directed at, but I got called a sand N-word the other day on Twitter, and I'm not even I'm not.
You're not even remotely Arab.
No, I'm not. No, I'm half Italian, half Hawaiian, but swing for the fences, I guess.
Wow, man.
If you're gonna be racist, you gotta fully embrace it. You just gotta go all in.
Yeah. Well, you can't be racist and right, you know?
Touche.
All right, so next question we got. Sakaro Melendez asks, should he start Tyrell Moss this week in fantasy?
I am, man. He's my flex.
Yeah, I'd say probably throw him out there. Because I think, let's see, they probably put Talib on. Do they shadow, or do they just have Talib play the left side the whole time, and then CJ play
Chris Harris
play the right?
Yeah, they shadow. Harris followed Julio last week. He's probably the best corner in the NFL.
Yeah, he's good. He's hashtag
so
good.
I would imagine he would follow Benjamin, and then Roby and Talib would just take take Williams.
Talib on Tyrell is a pretty good matchup. Talib,
he can run by him.
Talib's
for
not
sure.
super fast, especially recovering from shooting himself in the leg. So
Well, he will be very aggressive underneath, though, so Tyrell's going to have to do better there.
Yeah, but I think Tyrell's got a little bit of size there, which should help.
Yeah, but I'm starting him to answer the question.
There you go.
So Ruben asks, hey guys, has Dexter McCoy plateaued for the year? It seems like the hype has stopped and he's not getting the playing time he needs. So I think he's getting the playing time. I think he has kind of plateaued right now, but I think it's because of what we keep talking about, how they're kind of they're being forced to use him as a single high, they're being forced to play him center field, which is not his forte.
I would agree. I'd say when you're using a center field type safety, just in today's NFL, that impact is not going to be high at all. You want somebody that's in the box like a Harrison Smith or an Eric Weddle. Those are the kind of guys who are just going to give you the best chance to make plays. So it's not anything against McCoy. He does a good job of coming up against the run. It's just he's so far back and out of the play where he's just not going to have a big impact on the game.
Yeah. He's not getting a lot of action, to be honest. But it's he plays safety in college, and then he's a stud inside linebacker in the Canadian League. Then he shows up in the preseason as the box safety, and then now you play him as a single high. It's just the natural progression,
Right. You want a guy like the Cowboys use Byron Jones as basically a slot corner / guy who's going to hang around like an extra linebacker against the run. That's the kind of usage you want if you really want a guy to rack up stats. And that's just not McCoy right now. There's not a knock against him.
No.
Yeah, he's doing what they're asking him to do. So
exactly.
Yeah.
So the next question. Oh, we kind of already touched on it, but somebody's asking now: Tyrell or Benjamin in fantasy?
I would say Tyrell, just because I think Chris Harris is going to erase Oh, he has the better opportunity to take away Travis Benjamin.
Yeah.
Yep, I'd say the same.
So Frank the Tank asks, who is going on the IR this week?
Ooh,
This
is a fun one.
Orlando Franklin.
Oh, that's easy. That's easy money.
I could see that.
Orlando Franklin revenge game gone wrong.
And then somebody asks, even with the injury, I guess he means even with him practicing, does Perryman play this week?
Ooh. What is he listed? Questionable?
He's listed as questionable, and he was limited all week.
He's limited all week?
Yeah.
I would say they hold him out because of a short week.
Yeah, I'd say so. And Brown did a decent enough job last week with the green dot calling the plays, so I don't see why they would need to rush him back. I think they'd probably play it safe with them so short on inside linebackers.
And Toomer played good last week, so I would say they'd rest him for the short week and then bring him back versus Atlanta.
Is Toomer a rookie?
No,
but I don't think he's had any regular season games before. So he got picked up by the Seahawks originally, and then he spent some practice squad time with them, and then he spent some practice squad time with the Raiders.
Interesting.
But I know a lot of Raiders fans are really upset that he wasn't the one promoted to the active roster, and I guess they didn't they weren't planning on releasing him, but when the Raiders promoted somebody else, the Twitter rumor was that Toomer then said, okay, I want to be released. Screw you guys. And so that's when the Chargers were able to sign him.
So for the NFL 1000 thing, whoever grades inside linebackers gave Toomer the 4th highest run grade this last week.
Wow.
I'd take that.
Yeah,
I mean,
he
looked really athletic for how big he looks, especially next to Brown. He doesn't look small.
No, I'd say he looks really thick, Perriman size.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But with some height. He's not short either. I think he's 6'2".
Yeah, 6'2", 234.
Yeah. So yeah, I wouldn't mind giving him more playing time right off the bat and just save Perryman, let him rest on the short week.
And this is kind of where you want to see, what do you have as far as depth too.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean at 1-4, what do you have to lose at this point?
We'll kick a field goal, but we don't have to get into that again.
No. Let Toomer put some plays on tape and get Nick D-Zubs off that team.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Get that guy off the roster.
Give him an injury settlement and tell him to pack sand.
What could he possibly have done to earn any sort of playing time?
He had
special teams.
His rookie year, he had 7 special teams tackles in preseason.
Jesus Christ.
And so they were like, oh my God, this dude is Daryl Stuckey Part 2. And then he never did anything after that.
Shocked.
Yeah.
And of course, with the Chargers, love of veteran players that have been on the team, they're like, no, we got to keep this guy. It'll be fine. All right, so last question in the chat, we got what cheap coach replaces McChicken when he gets fired? I don't think they bring in somebody from the outside. I think they promote Pagano.
I think they promote Wisenhat.
Man, if it were me, I'm promoting Pagano just so that, because if they promote Wiz, he's probably not going to come back and take go back to offensive coordinator if the Chargers bring on another coach. So I would promote Pagano and let Wiz stay where he's at and hope he comes back next year.
That, and I think the Spanoses have too much loyalty to Pagano. They've kept him forever, and I think they finally are just like, all right, here's your chance, have at it.
Let's say Wiz. All right, let me do a hypothetical. Wiz comes back or is the coach. McCoy's fired after Denver. McCoy comes back, they lose. They're 1-5 then. Wiz comes back, they finish at 8-8. Do you want Wiz as the coach for 2017?
No.
No, so I wouldn't, but I think the Chargers would.
They finish the year 8-2, I think, if I'm doing the math correctly. No, I'm not. 7-2.
So what I was saying is I wasn't saying I would promote Wizenhunt. I think that they will promote Wizenhunt.
Oh, okay.
I would personally promote. I wouldn't promote Pagano or Wizen. I would just promote, so like the Broncos just said, like a special teamer, somebody so you don't have to delegate more tasks for Wiz or Pagano. Basically,
put John Spanos in there at head coach.
Maybe they can finally fire him after that.
Yeah.
All right, and then we got a couple questions on BFTB. So, is Hunter Henry's season so far the best rookie season the Chargers have had since Allen? The kid is good. I'd say yeah.
Man, how was Verrett's rookie year?
That's exactly what I was trying to remember.
He was hurt a little bit, and he didn't get a pick until the end of the year. It was a slow start. I don't think I remember him starting week 1 his rookie year.
So here, all right. So, well, I guess the answer is sure. I don't remember Verrett, but now if you're
Herman's pretty good that second half last year.
Oh yeah, he was.
Yeah,
definitely. So I was thinking during the game, the Oakland game, is Hunter Henry the best tight end drafted since Tyler Eifert? Because there's been some bad, like we're talking like Max Williams, I think was the head of class last year.
Right.
Like Austin Seferian-Jenkins, I think Eric Ebron was part of. I'm just trying off the top of my head.
there's that Dwayne Allen, Colby Fleener class.
Oh, see, maybe Allen. I mean,
Yeah,
Fleener not so much.
Dwayne Allen's pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. All right, maybe.
But I don't think he blocks though. He's pretty much a receiving tight end. Yeah, I'd say Hunter. I mean, he's definitely the most well-rounded tight end to come out of college football, and I'd say,
if not, yeah,
in a long-ass time.
If not, it's really close, especially so when they get to the goal line, they're obviously looking for Gates, but if he can rack up some touchdowns, I would say for sure.
Yeah.
So 2013 was Tyler Eifert, Zach Ertz, Travis Kelce, Jordan Reed. Ooh, that was a good.
Jordan Reed is good.
Yeah, Jordan Reed's really good.
All right, so Tyler Eifert was 2013, so we're talking 2014 then.
That class seems stacked.
Yeah,
that 2013 was good.
Did you say Kelce, Eifert, and Reed?
Yeah.
That's pretty stacked.
So the headlines for 2014 were Jason Morrow, Eric Ebron, and Austin Seferian-Jenkins.
Pass.
That was a bad year to draft a tight end.
Yeah, 15,
so bad.
Max Williams, Clive Wofford. And that's pretty much it. Blake Bell, but he hasn't played. Jeff Huberman, who hasn't really played much for the Broncos. So definitely better than anybody last year. But anyway.
Yeah.
Damn, he's been good.
Yeah, he's been real good. And then he follows that up with a non-football question. Since the Chargers are still depressing, what is the best live concert you've ever been to?
I saw Kanye 2 months ago, and that was really live, man. That was dope.
Yeah? That's your favorite?
I mean, just the way everything was set. He was like floating on a stage. I'm trying to think of ones better than I really can't think of that. Just the atmosphere, I would say that was probably the best.
Garrett?
Stanley?
Oh, you want me to go?
Sure.
So I would probably have to say.
Yeah, that's a hard one.
Yeah, so I went to the Taste of Chaos tour in London in 2005, and that was just an awesome show. I mean, that's obviously not everyone's favorite genre of music, but they had Bullet for My Valentine, Reggie and the Full Effect, Rise Against, Story of the Year, Killswitch Engage, The Used, Funeral for a Friend. The lineup was awesome, and Story of the Year put on probably the best show I've ever seen. I mean, these guys were doing like backflips off the like really tall amps. There was at one point in between songs, you know how they have like guitars pre-tuned for different songs. The guitarist just unplugs his guitar, takes it off, and just throws it off the side of the stage. Like, you see it just disappear off side stage. And as it's flying through the air at, like, head level, above that comes flying back onto the stage, his guitar for the next song. So like him and the roadie are like basically tossed it back and forth, but it looks like he's just throwing it to no one, and this other guitar comes out of nowhere. He just catches it, plugs it, and starts playing. It was awesome. Best show I've ever been to.
Nice.
What do you got, Garrett?
God, my favorite experience when I was in New Orleans, I went to Preservation Hall, which is like this iconic concert venue, and I saw the Preservation Hall Jazz Band there. They were awesome. But I remember in terms of lineup, when you were talking about that, Stanley, I was just thinking back in the late '90s, early 2000s, San Diego had Street Scene. I don't know if you guys ever went to any of those. No, man, but it was incredible. So so downtown they'd have stages for all different musics and stuff. So there was a hip hop stage and a rock stage and a main stage and a Zydeco stage. But I remember one year, I think it was 98, 99, something like that. Snoop was there. I saw De La Soul, and then I saw Toots and the Maytals on the reggae stage, and James Brown was on the main stage. And then Buckwheat Zydeco was on another. It was crazy lineup. That was one of my favorites in terms of a whole concert.
Nice. I'm lying. I went to Summerfest in 2014 and I saw Outkast, and that was
I bet that was real good.
Andre was in a full bodysuit, all black. It was 90 degrees out. He's sweating his balls off. I know he was.
Yeah.
But that was awesome. That was the best concert I've been to.
Damn.
All right, so 2 more quick questions. Daniel Stebbins, who was in class tonight, that's why he couldn't join us. He asked, Tyrell Williams is currently on pace to go over 1,000 yards. Does he pull it off?
What?
Really? He's on pace? I didn't think of that.
So Travis Benjamin definitely will, because he's at 394 right now. I remember just looking that up. What does Williams have? Oh, Williams has 358. He's not far behind at all.
Oh, wow.
So basically what just needs to happen, so they really just need to be steady and just have a couple games like the Raiders where they just go for 100.
Yeah, and
that's very attainable.
Yeah, the Chargers just need to start losing earlier in games, and then they'll just throw the ball more.
Yeah.
Which is going to happen.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, so I say yes.
So Tyrell Williams has 1 less yard receiving than Odell Beckham. Tyrell Williams is as good as Odell Beckham.
Because that's how stats work.
That's exactly how it works.
All right, and last question. Do you think Melvin Gordon will end the season leading in touchdowns? So he didn't specify here, so we'll go to, do you think he leads the Chargers in touchdowns? And do you think he leads the league in rushing touchdowns?
Yes.
I'm guessing he means league because I'm pretty sure Melvin has the most touchdowns in the league right now.
He does. I think he has 6.
Okay. Yep. He has 6. I think I just looked up. He does have. He's tied with Carlos Hyde.
Okay.
And I don't know if that counts receiving. Did he have another one?
He had one last week.
Okay. I wasn't sure if there was more. So you got to think Zeke's going to rack up some touchdowns. LeGarrette Blount, those kind of guys who are on teams that are actually good. So they're going to rack up some touchdowns. So Gordon's probably not going to lead the league in touchdowns, even though 6 is a lot early on here.
Yeah. So I think he probably leads the team in touchdowns, but I think he's probably top 5 in the league in touchdowns at the end of the year.
Which is great for him. That's a great.
Yeah, especially after scoring 0 last year.
Which is very hard to do.
Yep. Yep.
All right, cool. So that does it for questions. So let's roll into bold predictions. Garrett, why don't you lead us off? 1 for offense, 1 for defense.
Man, we should probably think about these before we get on here.
But there's so much better off the cuff.
All right. Joey Bosa has more sacks than Von Miller on Sunday.
Yeah.
You want to get hot or not?
Yeah.
You guys ready to go?
Fire take. Oh my God, that is
nice.
The boldest prediction of the year so far.
Nice of you to join us, Garrett.
Wow.
Yep.
All right, and what's your bold prediction for offense?
Well, let's go around for defense while I think about offense.
All right, Kyle, defense.
Oh man, how am I supposed to follow that? That's not fair.
Yeah. Good luck, man.
Craig Mager has more interceptions than Aqib Talib and Chris Harris.
Right. Like, where do I even go? Okay, I'll say whoever is a corner, whether it's Desir or Williams, gets beat for 3 touchdowns.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Yeah,
So
just has,
whoever's
like,
not
Casey
whoever's
Hayward.
not Casey Hayward.
On the other side, whether it's Manny Sanders or remember a couple of years, I think it was 2 years ago. Who's the corner? What was his name? It wasn't Sharice Wright. It was a guy who they cut mid-season. It wasn't Derek Cox. Manny Sanders beat. It was a primetime game too. I remember it. What?
Are you talking about Jimmy Wilson?
No, is it Richard something?
Richard Crawford?
Crawford.
No, dang it. I forget what his name was, but he got beat a couple times.
Oh.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Oh, man. Greg Ducray?
No, not the
God,
dude
what
who
is his
blocked
name?
you.
Yeah, oh.
I forget what his name is. I feel like Richard's in his name though, but
Richard Marshall. Thank you.
Yes.
Richard Marshall.
Richard Marshall.
Mr. Sniping Freak. Thank you in the comments.
Yes.
Oh, that's right.
I feel like we're gonna get a Richard Marshall type performance tomorrow from the opposite Casey Hayward, and it's just gonna be all bad, like blood and guts bad.
Yeah. Okay. That's man. Now you guys put me in a hard spot.
I mean, we need fire takes here. We're not
Fire.
Right. Let's heat it up.
bring the heat.
All right. My fire defensive take is Dwight Lowry gets his first interception and he takes it back for a touchdown.
Hello.
Ooh. Damn. Whew.
And for anyone who doubts my abilities, I called Joey Bosa's 2 sacks last week. So there's that.
You're gonna milk that for the rest of the year.
I don't know. You might as well.
I'm gonna get that tattoo. Joey Bosa 2 sacks.
You might as well.
Two dads.
Hot offensive take. Yeah. So.
I think I don't know how. I don't think it's a scorching, but I think Hunter Henry probably has the most receiving yards on Thursday.
Hey, that is exactly what I was going to say. So
because like if they run out Gordon or McCluster out wide, they still have to account for Hunter Henry over the middle and stuff. And so I don't know if their linebackers are going to be able to keep up with either, to be honest. So they're going to basically have to pick their poison. And so I think like there's going to be a lot of Todd Davis on Hunter Henry, and it's going to be a lot of Hunter Henry.
How much does he get?
He gets $120 and a touchdown.
Now we're cooking. Oh yeah.
All right, so I'm starting Hunter Henry this week.
I was gonna say he goes over 100, so I can see that. So I'll change it up. So while I think about that, Stanley, what do you got?
I'm gonna go with. So I kind of mentioned it earlier. I'm gonna go with Derek Watt gets a receiving touchdown.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
This is wild.
I mean, he's got to earn his draft pick, right?
Yeah.
He's got and they've been saving him, so he's due.
Because they might just might cut all 6-round picks if Casey doesn't show up. So he's got to earn his keep.
Let's hope.
All right, what you got, Kyle?
Man. Yeah, so I actually agree. I think that Henry's going to go off. I don't know if he's going to break one like he did last week, but I think he's just going to be steady. But as far as a hot take goes, I think Gordon is going to lead the team in receiving yards, not rushing yards, receiving yards.
Ooh.
Oh.
I think he's going to bust a couple screens, and then he's going to get a swing pass and for the first time in his life, make somebody miss instead of running him over. And I think he's going to break one. I think he's going to have a big game tomorrow.
That'd be fun to watch.
Yeah, I think they're going to get him in space, and he's going to look really good.
See, a real bold offensive take would have been like Phillip Rivers takes 0 sacks tomorrow.
Well, that's like not realistic. So.
Yeah.
That's too hot. That's too hot.
I think Bosa getting more sacks than Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware combined is a pretty hot take.
Why?
Well, DeMarcus Ware is out, so that's easy.
Oh, come on. Don't tell the audience that, man. That's supposed to be on. Before
I
we
was
get
gonna
off,
say-
we were talking about Outkast. Real quick, I always have this debate all the time. What's a better album, Stankonia or Speaker Box of Love Below?
Oh
Stankonia.
man.
You got Stankonia?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't. Oh.
They're both like
Right.
two of
I don't-
like one of the greatest albums.
Kyle's still gonna be pondering this next week.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know if I want to answer this.
Okay.
So forever, I always thought like Stankonia, but man, like Speaker Box Love Below is just everything you want in life.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna go Speaker Box Love Below.
Yeah.
And I'll say that because it's also more relatable. Like that was when I was in high school, so like that's what I can relate to more. So that's what I'll go.
Yeah, I think like as a feel, like Speaker Box of Love Below from like top to bottom is like probably like top 5
Yeah.
greatest albums, man. But Bombs Over Baghdad is my favorite song, so that's
It's-
Stankonia. So I don't know. I never know where to lean, you know.
I was blasting that on my flight into
Oh.
Baghdad a couple of years ago. That was awesome. Cool. All right, so right before we get off, let's do final game predictions. Garrett, who do you have winning?
Not the Chargers, and not by a little. I didn't even turn in. I forgot to turn in my prediction, but yeah, they're not going to win this game, and they're probably going to lose by a lot. This is like the first game I think they get blown out.
All right.
Yeah.
Kyle?
That means McCoy's out of here if that happens.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, it's got. I might get on here on Friday with whoever else wants to get on, and we can drink and celebrate.
So I actually think it's going to be the same tune. I think the Chargers are going to have the lead in the fourth quarter. I think it'll be 17-13. Like it'll be a sloppy game. And Rivers is going to. So this one's on Rivers. Rivers is going to fumble a snap, and they're going to turn it over. Denver's going to have a short field after struggling to move the ball all game, and they're going to score a touchdown. And then Rivers is going to throw a pick to end the game. Chargers lose 20-17.
Damn. Harsh. I also had the Chargers losing. I think I said like 17-24 or 17-23. But yeah, I think it's another semi-close game, but I think that they still lose.
All right.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. Again, I'm Matt Stanley at John_Gennaro on Twitter.
And I'm Kyle Posey. You can follow me at Jeff Sinyard.
I'm Garrett Sister. You can follow me at Lightning_round. I'm going to have terrible opinions about baseball and Arizona State football over there. So,
And 0 takes on any music.
oh, God. Or TV or anything. So go follow me over there.
All right, everybody have a good night.